Tomorrow we will have an assessment to conclude our iconic units. All 8 homework is due tomorrow, the day of our test. That includes the work from Unit 9 prior to being off. All of that homework is due the day of the test tomorrow, Thursday. E-learning days have a clause that you have additional days to complete for credit. However, I highly, highly recommend you complete the homework that we had during our e-learning days prior to taking the test so that you are prepared. This test score is going to be entered in as a quiz grade instead of a test score. What I have here is just a little review for our different units, our different conics, and things to think about. They are questions you should be asking yourself for each of our problems. One of the things you always want to begin with is, what conic is it? After you decide that, let's think about some key features. For parabolas, you want to think about what is being squared. Is it positive? Is it negative? That's going to help you with what direction it opens. If it's an x squared and it's positive, it's going to open up. If it's negative, it'll open down. For a y squared that's positive will open to the right, and a y squared negative would open to the left. We always want to think about where the a versus 4p are. They are reciprocals of each other. Your a value is on your squared side, and your 4p is on the non-squared side. Reviewing from your quiz, something I noticed was the idea of where the vertex is. It depends on which form it's in. If it's in transformation form, this would look more like right, left, up, down. And you're going to have them on the same side. If it has a minus inside, it is to the right. If it had a plus inside, it's to the left. Outside would be a plus is up and a minus is down. That is how we first started to learn about parabolas in our transformation form. In this unit, we moved on to where the sign or the vertex information was on opposite sides. If they're on opposite sides, you want to take opposite signs. Make sure your x goes with your x, and then your y goes with your y. This is where you would take opposite signs. The foci will always sit inside the parabola, and the directrix is a line that's perpendicular to your axis of symmetry. Remember, a directrix, you always want to have an x equals or a y equals to describe the line. Your p-value is the distance from the vertex to your foci or the vertex to your directrix. So if I were to draw a little sketch here, if I have a vertex, I'm just making this up. If I have a vertex here and it's opening to the right. Well, if it's opening to the right, I know it's a y squared. I know it's going to be positive. So y squared, and then I'll have my x. My vertex is at 2, 3, so minus 2 and minus 3. It's opening to the right, so this would be positive. If they give us information on where our vertex or our p-value, if we find our p-value is a distance of 2, in here would be 4p, or 4 times 2, which is 8. So this is our foci, and it would be written as an ordered pair, and this ordered pair is 4, 3. Your directrix is a line, and it would be, oops, yep, that was right, 2 units away would be here, and that would be a vertical line, x equals 0, and that would be your directrix. For circles, just make sure that you take the opposite signs, and this is an equation that's not equal to 1, it's equal to r squared. And looking at this, you want to think about what the question's asking. Are they asking you to complete the equation? Then you want the r squared. Are they asking for the radius? Then take the square root. If they're asking for the diameter or they give you the diameter, take the square root and double it. So find your radius and double. Ellipses are oval shaped, They will always have a plus sign, that's very important, and it will be equal to 1. Always start off a problem knowing if it's an ellipse, a circle, or a hyperbola. An ellipse will have a plus sign just like a circle, but ellipse will have different numbers, making it more oval-like. Whatever's underneath the x, take the square root, and that is how much you're going to move left and right. So for this problem, from the center, you'd move left and right 3. Whatever is under the y, from the center, you're going to move up and down the square root of that amount. Take the square root of 16, and from the center, you'll be moving up and down 4. If you're working with an ellipse, there is a plus sign in the equation. And as a reminder, your foci will have the opposite sign, a minus. When you subtract, order matters. Always take the bigger number minus the smaller number. Other vocabulary, we have the longer axis is our major axis, and the foci are on the major axis. And the shorter axis is called the minor axis. Moving on to hyperbolas. Hyperbolas have a minus sign, and they're going to be equal to 1. We always create a box from our center, and think of that as rise over run. We take the square root of what we had underneath here. So square root of 25, we go left and right 5 from the center. Take the square root of 64, which is 8, and we're going to go up and down 8 from the center. That helps us create a box. The box, we then draw asymptotes. Those are invisible lines, but they help guide the how wide the parabola is. How do you know which direction your hyperbola opens? Well, in this problem, if you look, we had x first. With it having an x first, it opens left and right. I just made up a new problem down here. If you see how the y comes first, that's when it's going to open up and down. Your original formula for hyperbola has a minus, so your foci formula has a plus sign. When you add numbers, it does not matter which number comes first. There's no, with subtraction, order matters. So here you're just going to add the two denominators. The foci always will sit inside your branches, just like in a parabola. And the foci are always on the transverse axis. So this right here would be our transverse axis. And the conjugate axis would be the one, the other one. How do you write your equation of your asymptote? Well, think of your point slope equation. Y minus y1 equals plus or minus m, parenthesis x minus x1. The plus or minus are so that you get both of the asymptotes, the one going down a hill and the one going up a hill. The ordered pair is from the center, and your slope is from your box, rise over run. Sometimes from your box, it would need to be simplified. Here we had 8 over 5, which does not reduce, but if we had something like 10 over 5, you would, of course, reduce that. So this concludes your review for your test. I encourage you to do your test review today. Hop on Zoom with any questions at 1:30. Or anytime you want to Zoom with me, just send me a quick email and I'd be happy to hop on and answer any questions. Remember to do any missing or late homework. I really encourage that to be done before taking the test. In regards to taking the test, remember Schoology has windows where there's maybe more activity and Schoology may cause some issues for us. I think it's been getting better over the days. I have no issues when I use Schoology before 8:30 if you're an early bird. Or I might just encourage you to wait until the evening, study during the day, and then take your Schoology quiz at night. The last thing I want is Schoology to create any stress for you. And hopefully taking the quiz is easy as long as Schoology works for you. If you do have issues, feel free to email me. I know you guys are in constant communication with me. I do hope that everything goes smooth. And like I said, this test score will just be entered in as a quiz grade, but all of these exam grades will help raise your grade if you do well, and I hope that's the case. Please study, please be prepared. I'm very proud of all the work you've done, Have a great day, and there'll be no school on Friday, so after you take your test on Thursday, you will be done for the weekend.